Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay, we only have 3 people in the session so far. Um, I think I'm going to wait for a few more people to join because a discussion cannot happen with only 2 of us. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this session. The question that we're posing today is, what do you want to see improved by our leaders? I am going to be a facilitator for the day. My name is Jamila Jana, and I'm a master's student at Stellenbosch University. So I'm just going to give you some housekeeping rules. If you want to ask questions, please use your Q&A box that you'll find on the right-hand side of your screen. And I will also be adding a link to the Jamboard. And the Jamboard is where we'll be raising all our questions and writing down all the solutions that we have and that we have gathered from this discussion. Okay, so I am now going to add the link to the Jamboard into the chat. Okay, so today's session discussion is, what do you want to see improved by our leaders? So I'm just going to pose some questions to you guys, so just to start the discussion. When it comes to ocean protection, we know that they're not inclusive and we know that they're not equitable. So then how do we ask our leaders to be more inclusive and equitable when it comes to ocean protection and including most of the communities in ocean protection as well? And also, what do we need for greater accountability? See, Huti, you are here. Do you mind answering? Okay, Pilile, I said question for me. Pilile, are you there? Okay, so I'm just going to repeat the question for the session today. It is, what do you want to see improved by our leaders? Remember that, hi, I mean, there are 2 of you in the session, so it does make the discussion very small. But even though it is a small discussion, even though it is a small group, I think we can get some really cool points out. And it is about asking, leaders to be accountable, to have more inclusivity, to have equitable solutions. So how do you guys think that we can ask that from our leaders? You can always use the raise hand function and we can bring you on stage. Hello, Musa Wengosi. Welcome to the session. So what we're discussing, the question of the day is, what do we want to see improved by our leaders? And this is in terms of ocean protection and communities in Africa. Okay, Pilila, I see your hand is raised. I'm going to get you on stage.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, so I have posted the Jamboard link into the chats section of this conversation. Once you click on it, it will redirect you to Google Jamboard. And this is where we can take down our notes and whatever discussions we have. You can write all your opinions and solutions on Jamboard, and it will be there and accessible to us for the whole week. Hi, Pilile.
Hi, Jamila.
Sorry, Pilile.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So what do you think? What do we want to see improved by our leaders when, like, leading up from what we heard in yesterday's discussion from Rashid Somalia to Bram to Muniba, what do you think we need to see improved by our leaders to ensure that there is more inclusivity in ocean protections and involvement of communities, and that there are equitable solutions?
What I feel is often our leaders do not, or rather, are not educated on the subjects that they are leading. So you will have someone who
Okay.
is, so in most countries, in the developed countries, the person who will be Minister of Environmental Affairs will be someone who at least has an environmental degree. Whereas in our country, it's a bit different. It's more how much of a struggle leader were you then you are put in these positions. So I feel the first step for us as the youth to do is first to communicate to them and educate them, because even though they're in positions of leadership, they still need the knowledge coming from us. And what I would be asked of them in that position would for them to come into these discussions with an open mind, less from a
Yeah.
leadership perspective, but from a I need to learn in order to be a better leader in this particular space. So that's what I think is the only thing that can be done by them, which is to come into discussions with an open mind, understanding that for the most part, the people who first are studying the resource full time would have more knowledge than them, and then also to be respectful enough to understand that sometimes indigenous knowledge, not even sometimes, for the most part, indigenous knowledge plays a big role. So they also need to go into communities, not to say, we are doing this is the policies you are putting in place, but rather to say, what policies would work with you? What have you done? And where can we come in and assist?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a very valid point that you make, because you are correct as well. I'm wondering, do you think that when it comes to our leaders as well, that they're a bit removed from the third world issues that, for example, South Africa faces, and we always celebrate the first world solutions that we have, and then this causes us to not really be able to communicate with everyone in the country and hear everyone's opinions, because we're only focusing on one aspect of building the country and building conservation and do you think that now we really need to start focusing more on the third world issues that we have, because they are likely to facilitate better solutions and long-term solutions as well?
Yeah, I do believe that you cannot just look at the environment issue in isolation. Can you hear me? You seem to have lost connection there.
Hi.
Okay,
Okay.
so in
Jamila, can you hear me? Sorry about that. I think she just needs to lower her bandwidth. Let's
Oh,
just have a look. Jamila, can you hear us?
We need greater accountability for errors that we have seen in the past and errors that we are currently witnessing.
Okay, let's give her a few minutes to just get back to us.
That is all right.
You're back? Okay, Jamila, I think if you can just lower your bandwidth maybe to a low definition, just in case it happens again, like, you lose connection.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, but you're all good. We can hear you. We can see you. You're all
Okay,
good.
fantastic. Okay, great.
Maybe repeat the last statement because we
Okay.
missed the beginning of
Okay.
it.
Okay. Mm, um, okay, yes, I can definitely share Jamboard with you guys. Thank you, Rachel. The link is in the chat box. Share screen. Okay. Okay. Can you guys see this screen?
Not yet. We
Can you guys see my screen? Okay, so I'm just going to repeat that previous question. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you, Jamila.
Okay. So I was just going to repeat the previous question, which was, do we need greater accountabilities for past and present errors? For past and present errors. The question is on the Jamboard. What do you guys think? Okay. Um, Pilila, are you able to access the Jamboard from? Okay, my screen is it sharing? Candace, can you see my screen? Because I'm trying to share the Jamboard, but it's just loading.
So, okay, let me try and put that up on the screen. Do you want the link or just the? Yeah, we need it in PDF. If you want the, I can show it on stage. There we go.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So if you have anything, my network, I feel like my network is extremely terrible right now. But if you have any opinions on this discussion on what we want to see improved by our leaders, feel free to add them onto the Jamboard, because obviously whatever discussions we're having here and in the other that are also happening at this time, they're all going to inform session the decision for Africa, for the youth that are currently now living and experiencing all these climate problems now, and what our future is going to look like in the next 10, 20, 30 years. So feel free to share it on the Jamboard, singling you out. So if you feel more comfortable with putting your opinion on the Jamboard, then please do that. I'm just going to put the questions down. Yeah, I'll put the questions here in the Jamboard. Is that fine?
That's all good.
Okay, awesome. Okay, you'll find the questions on Jamboard. Hilile, can you answer this question for me? What made you interested in joining the session actually on communities, on actually asking accountability, improved leadership from our leaders in Africa? You can always put it down in the text
Hilile, if you raise your hand,
box.
or you can raise your hand and I'll bring you on stage. Sorry, Jamila. Sorry, Jamila.
Yes.
Hilile's question was, was
Yes.
the question what made me click on the session?
Yeah. Yes. What made you interested in the session question, which is, what do you want to see improved by leaders?
Oh, can you hear me? It
Can you hear me?
was
Yes, I can hear you.
so it came from a point where even though we are in environmental science as students, I always feel like we are removed from the policy part. So it's like you have the research part of science and then we have the policy part. So I was more wondering how in the solution of what will be improved by our leaders, that may come up of how do we make the researchers and the policymakers have a constant discussion, an open discussion, have a connection between the two things, whereby you don't have to only be a part of a certain scientific body for your work to actually be communicated to policy.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's actually very important. I think, did you attend Smangele's session this morning, Smangele Msweli's?
I missed it by a bit. I literally came at the end of it.
Oh yeah, no, that is the best way to do it. Because she is one of the youth representatives in the Convention on Biological Diversity with other youth globally, and I met her through Mam Malta, who is in DIA, who's part of the conservation, who's under the conservation department in DIA. And so now you have government and you have youth, and Mam Malta advocates and she actually encourages youth to work with government to get youth's voices out there when it comes to concerns in the environment. So one of the routes that you can take is through the South African Youth Biodiversity Network, and a global route is via the Global Youth Biodiversity Network, or GIBBN. And those two platforms are your access points into like policy decision making, working with government and telling them what you want. And you don't need to be part of any certain groups or boards to be able to communicate these. And whatever the youth talk about, those discussions, they align with the Convention on Biological Diversity's goals, or they don't necessarily align, but they use them as a guidance. But also they should meet whatever the discussions you have, you're always speaking from your country's perspective. So another great way to do it is mobilizing youth. So we find that not a lot of youth like policy. I'm one of them. Policy gets very complicated. But for the few that love policy, that's where we need them to come and simplify it to us. Because for us who are lazy, it becomes like a chore to understand it. But for those who are passionate for it, that's where them mobilizing youth, getting us simplifying policy for us now gets us more interested and more active. And we also start really speaking with government, with the department, and asking them, hey, this is what youth wants, this is what youth is seeing. And if this aligns with the government's plans, then we would like to present this at CBD. So a lot of times also, so it does require liaising between youth and government, but it also does require government and youth meeting the same goal, so that when they go to CBD, it's not just youth coming and saying South Africa wants to do this, but it's the youth coming and saying that South Africa wants to do this, and it is supported by South Africa's government. It's supported by, for example, Ghana's government, Nigeria's government. So there are those routes, and South African Youth Biodiversity Network and the Global Youth Biodiversity Network are the best access points.
I will look for them.
Okay, awesome. I can always share the details with you also if you'd like.
Yeah, I think I've encountered a Facebook page by the South African Youth Biodiversity Network. I'm
Okay.
gonna go through it later. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. But I think we are reaching the end of our session. It's 10:44. The session will end in a minute's time, if I'm not mistaken, Candace. Yes, 10:45. It ends at 10:45. So thank you so much, Pilile, for joining and engaging with us. It was the two of us. It was great speaking with you as well.
Okay, thank you. It was great getting this information on the Youth Biodiversity Network. I'll just have a look at them when I find time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Sure.
Great.
Thanks, Jamila.
No problem. Thank you.
And we'll
Thank
be
you,
ending this
Pilile.
session.
Thank you, Candace.
Okay.
Okay, see you in the next session.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Bye.